Everybody, JC here from Toy News International. Now before we get into today's news, and we do have a lot to cover, I just want to say I apologize. I'm still getting over a cold, so my voice may sound a little rough or hoarse, and again that's why, because I am getting over a cold. But we do have a lot of things to cover today, so let's just hop right into it. First thing I wanted to talk about, something that was revealed at Comic-Con last week, the new Ghostbuster figures coming from Diamond Select Toys. So this is basically just a continuation of the figures that they have been doing in the 7-inch scale. Previously they were doing figures based on the first movie, but now they're moving into the second movie, starting with Series 6, and basically Series 6 through 10 will have pieces for a firehouse diorama. So the previous waves had diorama pieces for the top of the building from the first Ghostbusters movie, and now we're going to be getting pieces for the firehouse, and it's just the front of the firehouse, but it's pretty cool looking. You've got the sign. You can basically set it up so it looks like the firehouse from the first movie or from the second movie. It did differ a little bit. You had the different sign with the Ghostbuster holding up the 2, things like that, so that's kind of cool. And again, to get those you'll have to get all the figures in Series 6 through 10. Now Series 6 through 8 are going to have Ghostbuster 2 movie figures. We had seen previously the Series 6 figures, which has the Vigo figure, the main bad guy from the movie, and then Ray Stantz in his dark gray suit, and then Louis Tully in the tan suit. But then Series 8 is going to have the Janos character. I'm not sure what else is going to be in that wave. And then Series 9 is going to have mostly Ghostbusters, the Ghostbusters in their Ghostbuster 2 outfits. And these figures were on display at San Diego Comic-Con at the Diamond Select Toy booth. But it was also announced that Series 9 and 10 is actually going to have figures based on the real Ghostbusters animated series. I know some of you have been asking about that, and Diamond Select Toys has confirmed that they are going to be doing 7-inch scale figures based on the cartoon characters. So we're going to get the 4 main Ghostbusters and then a couple additional surprises. Now it's unclear, they weren't 100% sure. They believe these are going to be, Zacho basically said he believes these are going to be in a more realistic style, not so much of a cartoon style, but he wasn't 100% sure on that. And again, these figures weren't actually on display or anything, but they did actually confirm for you guys that those last 2 waves of Ghostbuster figures will be based on the real Ghostbusters animated series. In other news, Bandai America at Toy Fair, they revealed their upcoming 6.5 Legacy Power Ranger, the Zeo Mechazoid Build-A-Figure wave. So if you're into that, that's going to be the next wave, and those figures should be out early next year. For NECA had a lot of things that they showed last week at Comic-Con. I've already talked about a number of them, including the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now one thing I did want to update on that, it looks like that set is going to have 4 figures. Right now it's unclear if it'll be a Comic-Con exclusive of some kind. It won't be New York Comic-Con, but maybe San Diego, I believe. But they may also try and get those so they can do a direct-to-consumer release, meaning you buy them online directly from like the NECA store. So they're working on that, and the set is that we saw 3 of the figures in the set at Comic-Con, and there should be a 4th one coming. Now another thing that I thought was cool that kind of stood out to me was they debuted their Ultimate Chucky figure. So I'm not really into the horror figures that much personally, and not even less so with Chucky, but this one really just kind of stood out to me. I really like the detail. You know, we really haven't seen a figure like this for Chucky. So it's going to be 4 inches because it's in scale with the other 7-inch figures that they've done. It's going to have 4 different head sculpts and things like that. That figure is going to be released in November and is said to have 20 points of articulation on it. I don't think they ever did a non-ultimate 4-inch figure of Chucky. I might be wrong on that, but I don't think they did. But this is nice because it's going to have the articulation and other accessories like a hunting knife and a butcher knife and a straight razor and all kinds of things that you would see Chucky use in the movies. Now while we're on the subject of NECA toys, another thing I wanted to touch upon that was revealed at Comic-Con, I think Randy had mentioned this on Twitter previously, but he talks about it with Pixel Dan in an interview where basically he's indicated that those 7-inch Batman or DC versus Alien and Predator figures that we saw at Toy Fair have run into a bit of a snag. They're definitely, it looks like they're going to be delayed and possibly might not even get released at all, I guess.
So I also wanted to ask about the DC Versus 2-packs. We saw those at Toy Fair. I noticed they're not around here.
Yeah, there's some licensing complications, you know, things aren't always what they seem. We were told they were okay, and then suddenly they weren't okay. They are not canceled, but we are still working on trying to get that stuff cleared up. I desperately want those to come out. That was my favorite thing of Toy Fair this past year. You know, hopefully we can get it resolved, but, you know, there's a lot of factors at play here between Dark Horse, DC, Warner Brothers. It's a tangled web we weave, so.
Okay, well, I mean, it happens, and unfortunately that's part of the business, right?
Yeah, it's the sucky part of the business, but we keep trying to get it cleared up. You know, I don't like taking no for an answer, so I'll fight until the end to try to get it out, and we'll see what happens.
So again, you can see it looks like Randy's still trying to get these released, but it's definitely seems to be in question, and at the very least, like I said, these look like they're going to be delayed if released at all. I'm not 100%, you know, it sounds kind of like maybe it's a licensing issue between Warner Brothers, DC, and Dark Horse, or maybe it's another toy company that's not terribly happy with NECA doing these DC figures. I don't know for sure, but definitely some type of licensing issue seems to be at play here. And hopefully Randy will be able to get these released at some point, but at this point, don't expect them to be released on time, and we'll keep you updated if we hear anything more about these. While we're on the subject of DC, Mattel, they slipped out. They actually, you know, if you caught coverage last week, Mattel only had their Justice League movie figures on hand at Comic-Con. They really did not have very much in the way of DC at their booth this year. They did not have a panel. You could really kind of tell that Mattel is just not putting a whole lot of effort into this line, the Multiverse line these days. It almost seems like an afterthought. And so it looks like they did slip out, somebody at Mattel slipped out some images to the folks over at Action Figure Insider revealing an upcoming wave of figures. Now, I actually reached out to Mattel's PR about these, and they were actually completely clueless. They weren't even aware these images existed and really had no information on this wave. Now, I take this as being that Mattel's left hand really doesn't know what its right hand is doing type thing. Again, kind of just a sign that there's not a lot of effort being put into this line right now from Mattel. These definitely seem like early images. I at least hope so, because, you know, definitely these figures kind of look a little bit off to me based on these images. I don't know, but this wave is going to include a classic version of Bizarro, a Gaslight Batman figure from the comic book series, a Vixen figure, a Simon Baz Green Lantern figure, Ray, and he's getting his own CW animated series. It's going to be on the CW Seed, so, you know, kind of like the Vixen character had. So Ray is going to be getting that treatment, so that's probably why we're getting this figure. A Rebirth Wonder Woman figure, and then the Collect and Connect figure in this wave is going to be a Rebirth Lex Luthor figure in that Superman armor. So I don't have any kind of release date on these. I'm guessing next year. You know, these multiverse comic book figures are getting harder and harder to find on shelves. Right now, like, my local stores are pretty much still sitting on the armored Batman wave along with the movie figures. The movie figures are getting out there, like the Wonder Woman, and I'm sure the Justice League movie figures, the multiverse movie figures, will be pretty easy to come across. But like these comic book figures, I only saw the King Shark wave one time at retail, and I've yet to see the Batbot wave at retail. And again, most of the retailers around me are still sitting on gobs of those armored Batman from the Dark Knight with the Supergirl figure and such, which was, you know, came out months and months ago. So I really don't know, you know, with Mattel not seemingly putting much focus on these comic book figures and such. I mean, like I said, the fact they didn't even have these at Comic-Con is a telltale sign that, you know, they're just not really putting a whole lot of effort into these. Moving on, we got official solicited images for the SH Figuarts Justice League Wonder Woman figure from Tamasi Nations. Now, we saw this figure at Comic-Con last week along with the Flash and the Aquaman and Batman figures. Batman had been previously solicited, but we're now getting official images for Wonder Woman. Now, the Wonder Woman figure is going to come with a shield, a sword, and two versions of the lasso. It looks like she's going to have two facial expressions and multiple pairs of hands as well. We also are getting a confirmation with these images that they're doing Superman and Cyborg along with the others. Again, we'd seen Flash and Aquaman and Wonder Woman and Batman at Comic-Con, but Cyborg and Superman were missing. But based on this image, it definitely looks like they'll be doing those two characters as well. Who knows how long it'll take for all of these to get released. The Wonder Woman figure won't be out until December of this year, and so the others probably won't be out until next year sometime. Storm Collectibles, they snuck out one of their Tekken 7 figures, so they made the announcement that they're going to be doing 1/12 scale Tekken figures that will basically be in scale with their Street Fighter 5 and Mortal Kombat figures that they've been doing. But at least when I went by the booth earlier in the week last week, they did not have the Tekken figures out, but they did put some images up on their Facebook page, so I guess they slipped these out towards the end of the week. And the first figure that they're going to be doing is the Mishima. I think that's how you pronounce his name. If it's not, forgive me. But I don't have a lot of information on this figure, just these prototype images that they released, giving us our first look at it. Some new Last Jedi 20-inch figures from Jakks Pacific leaked out, so this might be considered spoiler, so if you don't want any Last Jedi spoilers, you might want to skip ahead a minute or so. But these showed up on Amazon, so one, not a big deal. Captain Poe Dameron looks kind of like Han Solo with this outfit on. And then the First Order Elite Guard. So actual images of this character also surfaced online this week, which I'm not going to show you here, but the figure, and I think a Lego version of this figure is leaked out as well. But essentially this looks like a First Order version of the Emperor Royal Guard, probably is the guard for the Snoke character. And definitely these guys look kind of like badasses with their bladed weapons and stuff. But Jakks Pacific is going to be doing one. I'm sure Hasbro will do a 6-inch version as well, which will probably be in the first wave released at Force Friday. Speaking of leaks, there was an entire list of the Power of the Primes product that Hasbro's going to be putting out that leaked out last week, and there were some slide images that have since been removed, though if you really search hard you can probably find these. And I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on this. If you want the full skinny on this, head over to tformers.com. But basically we're going to be seeing things like Prime Master Pretenders, combiners of Dinobots, Terracons, the 1985 female Autobots, and a few Legend Minibots that hadn't been previously released. A Titan Predaking and a Leader Optimus Prime were among the ones listed in the leaked list. Again, if you want the full skinny on that, head over to tformers.com, but definitely looks like there's some cool things coming with Transformers in the next year. Also, making the rounds on the internet is a screenshot of a Walgreens computer showing a listing for a Marvel Legends 6-inch Super Skrull figure. Now, truth is, this listing has been floating around for several months now, so it's not really anything terribly new. The fact is that it looks like there is possibly something in the works for a Super Skrull, but I wouldn't get too excited at this point. Hasbro announced 2 Walgreens exclusive figures at Comic-Con last week, which is the Reed Richards figure and the Medusa figure. So that's what's probably, I'm pretty sure is coming next. So if there is a Super Skrull Walgreens exclusive figure, it's probably not going to see release until 2019, at least if Hasbro keeps up with its track record of 2 Walgreens exclusives a year. And we also know that Thing is coming. Hasbro did admit at Comic-Con, even though they didn't show us the figure, they admit that Thing is coming. So possibly Thing and Super Skrull will be the 2019 Walgreens exclusives. Or maybe Super Skrull won't be released at all. I would kind of hope that if they do a Super Skrull, that they would end up doing it as a Build-A-Figure. With all the multiple pairs of arms and legs, I would think they'd want to include with it to mimic his powers and stuff. And he's a pretty big dude, so definitely I think that's a character more fitting for the Build-A-Figure than as a regular release figure. But only time will tell. And like I said, the actual listing has been in there for some time, and the fact that they didn't mention it at Comic-Con kind of makes me wonder if maybe it's not even coming at all. I don't know. Again, I can't confirm or deny it, but it is in the Walgreens computer system and has been for a couple months now. And then finally, just as I was getting ready to start filming this, the Hascon exclusives were announced, or at least some of them. I don't know if there'll be any more, but at least the first round of Hascon exclusives. Now, if you're not familiar, Hascon is the new Hasbro convention that's going to take place the weekend of September 9th in Rhode Island, which is basically where their headquarters is located. And so this convention, again, it's a Hasbro specific convention where they're going to be celebrating all their different brands: Star Wars, Marvel Legends, My Little Pony, Transformers, G.I. Joe, so on and so forth. So we got some listings for exclusives. Some of these are just early access, they're not actual exclusives. So the 6-inch Captain Rex Black Series Star Wars figure, you'll be able to get at this convention first. This isn't really an exclusive, it's just it's being released first at the convention, so you know, early access. Same with the Titans Return RC figure. That's another one that you're going to get first access to at the convention. It's not really an exclusive, but you'll get first access to it if you attend the convention. There's going to be an Optimus Prime phone charger, so that's kind of a unique item. That's going to cost $50. The Rex figure is going to cost $20, and the Titans Return RC is going to cost $30. And then also for Marvel Legend fans, they're going to be doing an X-Force version of Deadpool. So this is a repainted Deadpool, but you know, that is an actual exclusive, and that one's going to cost $20. And again, Hascon tickets are on sale now, and it's going to take place the weekend of September 8th. Okay, so that's it for this week. I'm actually going to forego the Q&A this week. It's been a while since I've done a Q&A, I know. But if you want, I'll probably get back to the Q&A next week. So if you want to ask a question in the comment section below, just put Q&A next to it, and I'll try and get to it next time we do a news video. Also, just leave comments below. Let me know what you think about all the things that we talked about. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button down below. I'd really appreciate it. You can also follow me on my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts. I'll have links to those in the video description as well. And until next time, guys, I will catch you later.